There's a new bar in town. Welcome to the Turnbuckle Arms, where the banter flows like wine and the topics are as fresh as an ice-cold pint. So pull up a chair, grab yourself a glass, and welcome your hosts, the Brew'd!
Hi everyone, it's Matt from the Turnbuckle Arms podcast. A while back, before COVID and everything else that's been going on, I sat down for a chat with TJ Sky, not only a great wrestler in his own right, but also a promoter for my local promotion, Wrestling in Hinckley. We spoke about loads of things, including his influences, what it's like to be a promoter, as well as some people to look out for. Originally this was done to write up for the Babyface website, but I thought it was a good chat and warranted really being put out for people to have a listen to as well. So please give it a listen. We'll drop all the relevant acts in the description and let me know what you think about it. We look forward to inviting you back to the Turnbuckle Arms soon for our next episode, but in the meantime, enjoy. How did you first get into wrestling?
Ooh, that's a weird one. I was never really into it as a kid. It was only when I must have been about 10 maybe. I borrowed a VHS tape off my neighbour. He'd recorded something for me. I obviously sat down, watched it, and then, you know, when you've recorded over something, what he'd recorded over for me was wrestling. So I watched what I wanted. Credits come and it did that little grey transition to what's been showed, what it's been recorded over, and it was wrestling, and I was just mesmerised. It was Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin from WWF. Yeah. I don't know what year it's from, probably around the 2000 mark, but my god, it was great. I don't know, I was just mesmerised. Bought a trampoline, started imitating it like all kids shouldn't, and I just went from there. That's how I really got into it. TNA was what was on telly for me, because we used to have Sky, so Challenge. We weren't lucky enough to have the full Sky Sports, so Challenge and having what was TNA back then was amazing.
So that would have been the peak of like Daniel, Styles, Samoa Joe.
2007 that was when I started watching that properly. So yeah, it was bonkers. Yeah. One of my favourite. AJ Styles, Chris Daniels. I weren't keen on Joe, and I wasn't keen on Angle personally, but Daniels and Styles, I was mesmerised every time they were in a ring. Motor City Machine Guns, still to this day, are my favourite tag team. Yeah. Nothing will switch that. Chris Sabin's an incredible athlete. So is Alex Shelley. So between those four wrestlers, they were the ones that got me into wrestling. Yeah. So yeah, mixture of that little snippet of WWE and the full of TNA for like 3-4 years.
Would you say that those four guys are probably like your main sort of like influences as well, in terms of like style as well?
Yeah. As well as one of my biggest inspirations is Loki, because of his intensity. Yeah. But he was put into TNA originally as Caval? No, not Caval. That was WWE. Yeah. No, he was Loki in TNA.
Yeah, he was Loki in TNA. And to WWE.
He was vicious, ruthless, and his stuff was just so intense. Like, he looked like he was going for the kill with every strike, every kick, and for me, that's what it's about. Yeah. But it mesmerised me. There was no break off. There was no point in there where you questioned the legitimacy of what was going on. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different era of wrestling. Everything was so quick. Underselling was done with everything, and I don't know. I just loved that era. It was what got me into wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Who's your favourite opponent you've wrestled so far?
Oh, now that is hard. That's really hard. That's difficult for me, because for me, there's people that I've wrestled. I wrestled Joe Connors a while ago, which was good, but for me, it wasn't one of my favourite matches. Who do I enjoy wrestling? One of my favourite person to wrestle, and probably my favourite match, is probably going to be with Chris Drew. I'm probably a little bit biased because he's one of my friends, but we both click. Yeah. So we know each other's moveset off the back of each other's hands. We know how each other work. We can flow through everything and to call stuff. And when we're breaking kayfabe, but when we're going back through it, when we're going through it all in the back, and we're preempting what could happen in the match, we're not just being serious and discussing it. We're literally discussing levels, and we're thinking, right, well, that's what we've got, and yeah, it's okay. How can we make that one step bigger? And we're always striving for that next level, no matter where we are in a match. Like we can be planning one of my gimmick spots that I do traditionally every match, and he'll go, "That's great, but how can we change that and make it stand out and be different from all your other matches?" And I'm like, "Oh, great," you know. Something as simple as like, "Oh, he's the villain. Maybe there's an eye poke in there." You know, and you think, "Oh, that's great," but how can we get more heat from an eye poke?
Yeah.
Could we do it so that, I don't know, he gets out the ring, I go after him, and as he comes back in, he pulls the apron in with him. So as the ref goes to grab that, he can then rake in my eyes then. So then the ref's not looking. Like, there's so much more. You know, as soon as I start firing up on him, you know, rather than just a fire up and a stop straight away, maybe like a shoot into a corner, but as he hits the corner on the front, he undoes the top buckle, takes the buckle gives the buckle to the referee, you know, or the referee's drawn to fix that ring problem, so then he's got, it's just those layers that most people just kind of dismiss and do something automatic, like some people just do like fire up, shoot the ropes, take an elbow. It's different. Like he just strives for greatness every time, and he's not the most polished wrestler, he's not the best looking wrestler, he doesn't present himself the best, but he's safe, he cares about what he does. He's athletic when he wants to be. He's getting a bit older now, but yeah, every single match he pushes and pushes and pushes, and it's one of those. You said earlier about the judge, about how, and I was saying to you how he says, "Oh, what aren't you going to do in the match?" He's one of those people that when it was me and Chris Drew in a match, and he knew we were before him, he literally turned around to us and went, "What are you going to leave for us?" Because me and Chris will just take it to a level that others will find hard to match.
Yeah.
And
it's not good to have that relationship where it's not just about trying to get your own stuff in, it's just about
we've not done anything
a match together.
Over the top. Everything we've gimmicked in the match or everything we've put in is solid. It's nothing overly dangerous, but there's always that need to strive for more and get that extra out the crowd, and it's he's safe. He looks after me, and I know I'm gonna walk out that building fine at the end of the night, because he'd put my safety over his own first.
Yeah.
Same with me to him. If I knew he was coming down vertically, the first thing I would be doing is grabbing him and tucking that neck in and making sure he's safe, whether it breaks the fourth wall or not. Just saying they're ready. Go for it.
So who'd be your dream opponent? Sort of like either in British wrestling or sort of like anyone you
in general. Either of the Motor City Machine Guns. I like AJ Styles, but for me, I prefer the older AJ Styles, not what he's become now.
Yeah.
That saying, I'd love Chris Daniels. So I'd say Christopher Daniels, because he follows that same mentality of looking after your opponent. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Any of those three. I'd love to work Loki. I've worked with him in a seminar. I just don't think I could keep up, personally. So for that reason, I would rule out Loki. He's just a super athlete.
Yeah.
He's all around. He's so disciplined. I think I'd be lost.
Yeah.
But then Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, Daniels, I think they'd be able to carry me through it as such. I think they're striving for that perfection, but they wouldn't be enough that it'd be too intense for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What keeps you motivated in wrestling?
Ooh, motivation. I don't know. I love this industry. It depends on which way you look at it. Is it as a promoter or is it as a wrestler you're looking at?
Both, I suppose. I suppose all like how it
as a promoter, I love to see my product grow. I remember when I started this up, and I ploughed thousands into this company. My first show must have cost me about £1,200. I remember breaking even, and I had even the workers in the back were saying to me, like, "This is great to work for. Look, you've drawn a good crowd." And I've got to admit, for a first show there was 140-ish there, which for a first show is unheard of for most people, which is great. So I was overwhelmed by that. ran the second one, it was obviously a lot less. It was like 90. Then August was even lower. That was about 80. And then October hit, and that was like 160. So I was always striving to do better.
Yeah.
So if at the minute I've taken a little pop-up company and I've revolutionised it, I've helped. I like to think I've helped people to get that out of their shell. I had a conversation with Joey Scott, who's a really, really good friend of mine a while ago. Really good friend of mine, and he went through a phase where he was really struggling with wrestling, doing it too much, and it disheartened him. And he doesn't get on with everybody, neither does Steve Valentino. Both of them are excellent people, excellent workers, but they've all got people they don't get on well with, and they're just not pals backstage. They get on, but they're not friends as friends, or like they wouldn't hang out outside of wrestling. And they had a match, and I was a bit sceptical about booking it, but I knew they were both good talents. And Joey Scott come back to me after the match and said, I really enjoyed that. It was really fun. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. Crowd were engaging, and he said to me it sparked him again. It gave him that more, I don't know, it relit the fire as such. It made him want to carry on wrestling, and it's nice that my company gives that to people.
Yeah.
I have people that come into my company and say how much they love wrestling. I have others that say, yeah, it's just a walk-in a day, it's another job. They just want to walk in and get home, and it's not what I look for.
Yeah.
So I like making people enjoy wrestling. If you come to my show and you're not enjoying wrestling, then I want to help you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Whether you're a fan, whether you're a wrestler, whether you're a ring announcer. We've got a new ring announcer called Stuart, and he is the best. He's so excited about everything, and it just shows in his work, and he gets in the ring and he's just a hyperactive bubble, and I love it. I love watching it. Sorry, I forgot the question.
What keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? For me as a wrestler, it's got to be helping my students is a big thing. I love that positive feedback from people. I like to get a reaction out of people. I love watching that. So if I'm on a show and I can really wrench on somebody's heartstrings and get them that engrossingly involved and give them that separation from wrestling that I got when I watch it, that's it for me.
Yeah.
It's anybody that says they do wrestling for the fans is lying to you. That we all do it for our own egos. Yeah. Nobody can do it. We would do it in front of nobody if we had to.
Yeah.
Every wrestler would. So yeah, I do it for my own ego, like every other wrestler. But for me, I love watching that separation and knowing that I've put on something good, and that's what drives me to keep doing well.
Yeah.
If I ever hit a plateau where I get a bit, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know if I kind of just sit on that same level and don't really push myself in matches, and I need somebody to kick me up the arse. Sometimes it just takes me to be with somebody like Chris Drew, who says, no, don't settle, push. Yeah. So my opponents, they contribute. They definitely are. If I'm with somebody that just wants to plateau a match, I plateau. I get in a lot of matches where I'm the one that wants to push and they just want to plateau, and it makes being a wrestler hard. So yeah, you the wrestlers you're with and the atmosphere backstage is another big thing. That's my push. If I'm with a good positive backstage environment where they want to push, great. Yeah. That's my biggest push. Is the backstage environment. That's a realization I've probably hit now. Yeah. So yeah, backstage.
When did you start running wrestling in Hinckley?
That was the first show was in June 2015. We started planning this and started discussing it in March 2015, and it slowly began as just a quick idea. I was a friend of John Shipley, who used to run LCW in Leicester, and I used to love what they did. And I just got in with my other half, about half a year beforehand. And she was saying there was nothing really in the area. Now, we were on the brink of Nuneaton as well, so it was Nuneaton and Hinckley, and we thought nothing of it. And we just said, I've got a good community of people, let's just do this, let's just do a one-off, and we'll see how it goes. So, started venue searching, and yeah, it all kind of grew from there. Met the nice people at the Green King Stadium, joined Steve Jelfs, and they offered to help us start, and we went from there, and it was a good laugh. We got the old FCW ring from Dudley. We had people like the Judge on. I had my good friend Kieran on. Chris Drew was of course there. Who else was there? Mark and Tony. I knew them from a company called Phoenix Wrestling, which is the first ever place I trained. So I picked people from all sorts of areas. I picked people that I thought were not necessarily discovered. So it was more like an up-and-coming show. I put a few people that were a little bit known on there, but nothing too adventurous. And yeah, it was a shambles from the start. And slowly, over the years, we've kind of got a structure, and we've got a good thing in place.
Yeah. How would you describe wrestling in Hinckley? What's the appeal?
The appeal. Oh. No, that's one thing that I have to look at as a promoter, as somebody that runs a company, is what makes us stand out from the other companies. For us, there's a lot more of a one-to-one feel, I think. We have those larger-than-life characters, and we let them be larger-than-life. A lot of companies will have a larger-than-life character, and they blend in. I don't want people to blend in. I want people to stand out. We have 3 guys that do a health and safety character, and it's the most ridiculous, outrageous thing you've ever thought of. And it started off as a bit of backstage laughing about it, just thinking, oh my god, could you imagine if we actually did this? How funny would it be? And somebody says, let's do it. Let's just see how it goes. And we put the idea to Chris Baxter and Alex Connors, and they were both, Alex Connors was like, yeah, great, this will be a laugh. And then Kirk Langley, or Chris Baxter, whichever you want to call him, he was like, this is a terrible idea. This is not going to work. Yeah. And I said, see what you've got there? I said, see that resilience to go against it? I said, put that into the character. Make everything so you're like, this is not safe. Mm. And they went out there, and I don't think Chris has ever had a reaction like that, and it stuck with him. It rolled with him well, and he didn't have to do anything that was dangerous. He didn't have to do anything, because that's the point of the gimmick. It was health and safety. People like Steve Valentino, who's the pirate. He is so engaging. Killian Jacobs is so engaging. White Tiger, so engaging, and it just lets those people just be much bigger. We recently brought in Hustle Malone, and he was able to bring his large-than-life character, and we were able to let him be larger than what he wanted to be. We let him be this massive character that would stand out, and that's it for me. We don't let people blend in. We let people be bigger.
Yeah.
And we try to keep things priced well, so we try to make the show for everybody. We understand there's cheap competition out there. I wouldn't even say the competition. I would actually say everybody who's running a show out there is helping the industry, unless they are putting on something that could potentially put fans off. If somebody came to their first show, went to a show and went, that was terrible, I don't want to go watch British wrestling again, that's not helping us. But if you can put something out there that makes people go, we'll go watch the wrestling and see what it's like, and they come back and go, wow, that was amazing, I want to see more, brilliant, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So for us, we're making those larger-than-life characters so that they can reflect on the crowd, so that more people can get into British wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what I think we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the case. Like, bringing my kids to your shows, is that's really worked with them, and they've really got into it and really enjoyed it.
We want it to be a safe environment where everybody can enjoy it. So we run things a little bit differently to how we used to. So we can pull money in from different sections, but rather than just going, oh great, there's a bit of money in my pocket, it's nice to be able to go, no, that's not just put it in my pocket, let's put it back into the company.
Yeah.
Let's put it more into advertising so we can broaden to more people. Let's just hit more people, bring these bigger names in, so that not just so that the existing fans can enjoy it, but so that we can introduce new people so that they can enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, circulating is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Our friends over at Hope Spot Clothing are offering listeners to the Wrestling with Jollers podcast 10% discount off of all of their t-shirts and merchandise. Simply use the code WWJPOD. That's WWJPOD. Hope Spot Clothing are a charity label with over 50% of all profits going to a variety of good causes. Go to the website www.hopespotcc.com. That's hopespotcc.com. And take advantage of their great discount now.
What's your goal with Wrestling in Hinckley going forward?
Oh, see, I don't have a big goal with it. It's just ongoing for me. I'd love to get in a position where we can run a huge venue. At the minute, we're at Hastings High School. If we got to a point where we had to move to, say, a bigger school that had a bigger hall and a bigger capacity, great, I'd do that. So that's the goal for now. Sell out every show and be able to run more often.
Yeah.
So if I got to a position where I was selling out all 5 of my shows a year, and I even got to a point where I was running, say, 8 shows a year, and they were all selling out, that'd be my goal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want much bigger than what I've got now. I wouldn't charge any more than what I've got now, because what I've got now is great.
Yeah.
And people enjoy it. So if I got to a point where I was running a monthly show and they were sellouts every show, that'd do me.
Yeah.
Me to leave my day job and make Wrestling in Hinckley my full-time job. That would be my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you fancy book your main event or like a card? What would be your ideal kind of setup?
What is in?
If for a Wrestling in Hinckley show, what would be your if you could fancy book a main event?
If I could book any main event.
Yeah, if you could book any main event to bring to Wrestling in Hinckley.
Oh. Is it UK workers? Is it including my normal workers? Is it using outside talent?
Probably stick to Brit Rest, probably.
If I stuck to Brit Rest and people that I would want... Oh.
Yeah, you're doing it purely for yourself. It's purely selfish.
Purely selfish.
It's what you want to see. Not necessarily what would sell tickets. What main event would you want to see?
Would I want?
Yeah.
I would have to... For me, I'd have to bring in either the Motor City Machine Guns... so that's my stomach rumbling. I'd have to bring in the Motor City Machine Guns, or I would have to bring in Bully Ray. That is me being selfish, using American talent. If it was British talent, on the other hand... Oh, that is a really tough one. Because there's so many underrated British guys out there that I'd love to bring in. Oh, that is really difficult. I've never even thought about it in that sense. I'm really stumped. I love Think the World of Pete Dunne. Think the World of him. So I think Pete would be a good shout to bring in. I don't know who I'd put him with. Mark Andrews. I'd like to put Pete and Mark Andrews probably again, because it was one of those matches that when we started, really, we grew up watching. I watched Pete and Mark from the start, really, from when they were starting off in the same position that I was, and they've just excelled. And now they don't really get that chance to work each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably put Pete and Mark in there. That'd be 2 mainstream guys. In regards to like lower down card guys, so like guys that are probably on the same level as what we are now with Hinckley. This is really not easy. I book the talent I do because I believe that they are the best in the area.
Yeah.
I'd love to say Joey Scott and Killian, but I've seen them wrestle 1,000,001 times.
Yeah.
And I know how good they are with each other. So yeah, I'd probably have to say Killian and Joey. They're just two workers I think are tremendous.
Yeah, I mean their match at the back end of last year,
The Christmas show where they tore the ring up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was mental.
Yeah, it's lucky that Killian owns that ring. Otherwise, I don't think he would have torn it up like that. But yeah, they do. They tear the ring up every year, and no matter where they are, they put on a great show. I've watched them do an amazing cage match to open a show, and I was just in the back, just shaking my head, going, how am I going to top this? Like they were terrific.
Yeah.
Great workers, great people. Yeah, amazing. I love them both. Yeah, those two.
And where can you be seen in the next few weeks or months?
Ooh, that's a really good shout.
You can just send that over to me later if you want.
I should have it on me. I usually do. Luckily, I always carry my diary on me because the amount of times that midway through a day I get popped over a date. Right, so coming up, we have got. So, where are we? What date are we on today? We're on the...
It's 27th.
Yeah, so at the moment, on the 7th of September, you'll get me at Wolfram Pro Wrestling. I'm teaming with Mia Cortez, and we're entering their tag team tournament. It's an intergender tag team tournament, and the winners of the tournament will both get a title shot. So if me and Mia win, we're both looking to get a title shot. So I will take on the Elliot Jordan experience. Fingers crossed, and then Mia Cortez will hopefully get the chance to take on Nightshade. So that's that one. And I've got Full Force Wrestling in Warwick on the Saturday the 28th of September. That match is yet to be announced as such, but we'll be seeing how that one goes. But Full Force is a tremendous show, definitely worth checking out for anybody. We've got I've got one of my own there on the 29th, Sunday the 29th of September. I'm helping to do a show in Banbury, which is a collaboration super show with Wrestling in Hinckley and New Brew'd Wrestling Association, and that one's in Banbury. And then
I think I've been sent an invite to that one.
You probably have done. Yeah, they've all been sent the round stuff. Please share this.
Yeah.
Then on the 12th of October, you've got Wrestling in Hinckley.
Yeah.
So that's my next month all lined up, which is fairly quiet, to be honest. Like, normally I've got a few more on than that. Other than those shows, outside of shows in training wise, I train every Sunday. Apart from the ones I'm wrestling, down at New Brew'd Wrestling Association in Banbury. We run a class out every week there from 6 PM till 9 PM. There is a junior class for anybody under the age of 12. If you're between the ages of 8 and 12, they run from, I think it's 4 till 5:30 for the junior class. And if you're if you're 13 or above, come and join in with the adults class. It's a good laugh. It's safe. Decent trainers. There's myself. Chris Baxter's a good hand as well. We bring in all sorts of guest stars and anybody that we think will help you.
Yeah.
Nobody that if we think somebody's going to drag you down or show you the wrong way, we try to deter them away from the school. But yeah, it's a nice, fun environment where if you enjoy wrestling, you'll have a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I want to do, because I mentioned to you about doing some at the merch stand sort of quick fire questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was just scribbling stuff down the other day. So like stuff like WWE or AEW.
Do I have to choose one? I couldn't choose. Both have got such a broad array of talent, and I love both companies for two different reasons. Because for me, it's not a company that I like, it's the wrestler. So to say I prefer a brand, I couldn't say.
There's so much stuff on Facebook. There's like a couple of AEW groups, and everything they can do, they slag off WWE.
I love it.
And it's AEW haven't even been on TV yet, and that's the thing. So give them 12 months, and then you'll see how they are booking their talent.
I think both companies, if they are both reflecting Brit-Rest, or no, just wrestling in general, to anybody in a positive way.
Yeah.
As long as people aren't turning around and watching wrestling for the first time and saying, I'm never going to watch this again. As long as people are interested and enjoying what they're watching, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy wrestling. That's my main. That's my moral about this industry is if you're not enjoying wrestling, get out.
Yeah.
Because if you're not enjoying it, you're dragging people down around you.
Hottest thing in wrestling right now?
Thing in wrestling.
Yeah. Like gimmick,
Ooh.
storyline.
Characters. People that are just larger than life. Mighty Skull was a villain at the start. Just a villain. Or a heel, or whatever you want to call him. And he's made being a villain much bigger.
Yeah.
And much larger than life. So, yeah, things that are larger than life.
Next breakout star. It's all.
How far are we talking breakout? Are we talking what level?
Probably like still looking at the next. I suppose looking at it from a Brit Rest point of view, it's like the next Pete Dunne, I suppose.
The next Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think as far as WWE UK goes, Jordan Devlin. There's not one time I've seen him where he hasn't been on point. Exceptional. In regards to British wrestlers that are circulating at the minute, this is again you're hitting me with questions like these, and these are ones I haven't prepared for. Somebody who is wrestling on the same level as me, who I would love to see more places. I'd love to see go far. Joey Scott. Great attitude, great wrestler, great athleticism, always pushes for more. Doesn't work. You can't say this guy doesn't not work hard enough.
Yeah.
He just every time I see him, if the ring is not set up, he's setting it up. He's always the last one to leave, setting the ring down. Yeah, doesn't work. Can't work hard enough for you.
Yeah, the thing I like about Joey is like, when I've seen him as well is as a heel, is that you genuinely dislike him. Like as a heel.
It's a
like,
bit arrogant.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's quite hard. Like even in Brit Rest to kind of to have that separation because like there's someone who's like they're a good heel and it's like I really don't like that. So it's Zach Gibson was like that as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember I went to a Hope show in Nottingham, and decided to go on the train instead of driving. So we had a few beers. And then I had a few more beers and I just abused the hell out of him throughout his match. And then still went to meet him afterwards. And I was like, I'm sorry. So,
he's brilliant. Zach Gibson's tremendous as a wrestler. I like the fact that you can dislike him. Rob's got a great arrogance to him. When I first met Rob, I had no idea if he liked me or disliked me. And Rob's words to me were, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't spend my time speaking to you. And I thought, okay, I'll take that as you're alright then. So, but after that, I think me and Rob have really clicked, and I think he's one of my favourite people. I wouldn't want to book a show without him.
Yeah.
As a face, as a heel, as anything, I would go out of my way and take it out of my pocket to make sure he's on a show that I've been doing, because he's so good.
Yeah. And then I did leave space for more questions, but I didn't get a chance to write.
No, it's fine. If you've got any that you want to ask about, anything that you've got.
Well, the thing I wanted to end on as well, because obviously there's been a lot of stuff lately about people being critical of like the NXT UK contracts and stuff like that. People saying it's killing British wrestling. So I was basically going to do like a complete the sentence: British wrestling isn't dead because.
Ooh, it's not dead. There's so much new talent out there, and the thing is people being under contracts so that they can't work in certain places isn't a bad thing, because it means that you will go see them on other platforms. Just because wrestlers go to all these different companies doesn't mean fans can't. Fans can go to wherever they want to watch wrestling. And I'm all about that. I'm all about people going around and following them. If you've got a favourite wrestler, you follow them around. Great. Yeah. Do that. Follow the shows you like. Follow the wrestlers you want. As long as people are enjoying wrestling. And you never know. You might find a new wrestler that you think, wow, this guy's really great. I had 2 guys up from London who came to watch a Wolfram Pro Wrestling show. And they pulled me aside after the show and said, how are you not in more places? And it meant a lot to me. I really took me back, and it made me. It was another reason that I had a push. It was another push to work harder, and for that reason, it was nice. And they got themselves out there to meet me. They didn't know I existed. I didn't know they were fans, and now they've broadened themselves. Now they come up and watch Wolf, and they come up and watch Pro Wrestling Subjective, and so. British wrestling is not dead because you are always discovering new talent. You are always finding more things you enjoy. You're always enjoying wrestling. Enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.